that's my goal is to read 50 books a year, and I didn't quite get there last year. So I need to improve everywhere I can. But thanks for having us tonight.
You're welcome. I'm putting my email in to the chat box just so you'll have it. Yeah.
Colleen's on too, and she can make sure she grabs that as we test it. So thank you. So we're ready to go be online tonight. Is that what we're doing?
There won't be a lot of people. Most of them watch the video. That's why they join the E-Club, because I'm a speaker, so I'm traveling all the time. And it's a great club for a speaker because you don't know where you're going to be each week.
Yep.
And like today I was speaking at a Rotary for lunch, and tomorrow I'm speaking at another one. Thursday I'm in one in Austin. So I'm doing quite a few of them. Some of them you can do very well. Like I was one in Oklahoma this week. I made $3,000.
You get paid.
Yeah.
Congratulations for Rotary.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's pretty unique. You know.
Well, I'll tell you what I do. I have my program, so I donate it to all the kids. They have Ryler and Rotaract and Interact. They have scholarship. I give it away for all their kids for free. It's a gift because that's the right thing to do. And if they buy my program at a very steep, it's like 10% of what I normally charge, I give it to their local school for a year as a gift. So I'm basically using their payment to donate it to the school. I can't give everything away. I have to pay bills too. And a lot of the clubs I travel, so they don't pay any expense. And I use the money to pay, like I'm going to Austin, so they're not paying me. And I have to pay for a hotel. I'm doing a morning show while I'm there.
Out of Abilene, or?
I'm in Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. I thought you were in Abilene. Okay.
But we're moving to Florida later this year.
What part?
Near the Villages. Not the Villages, but near the Villages, that area.
Go through there every other week. I'm down there. In fact, I'm going there in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. I don't want to be in the Villages, but there's developments in that area that are very nice that I like.
There's a lot of land still to be developed around there, which is really interesting.
That's what my wife likes. She grew up in a small town in Michigan, St. Joe. It was like 8,000 people, and I grew up in Brooklyn. It was 4 million people, so it was a very different. So she wanted
that's
country.
Quite a contrast.
Yeah, she wanted more country. I wanted more city, and there's enough of both there. There's enough built up there that there's a lot of new stuff you can do. But it's still, like you said, a lot of farms and country. So she liked that it was country-like, and I like that. I didn't have to go 50 miles to find an office depot or a movie theater or do something. And it's a little further to the airport than I am now, but Orlando there's a shuttle for like $40. And then you can go anywhere from Orlando because at Disney World, everyone goes there. So
I fly there every other week.
Yeah.
And, I go to Gainesville, business at the University of Florida, and that's why I go up through there. But Gainesville only got 3 flights a day, so a little dicey.
Yeah, Gainesville's not too far, but that's the problem. It's not a very big airport.
Yep. Nice little airport, but Orlando's got everything you want. As long as you've got TSA pre and or clear, you're okay.
I have that. I have the international one, which automatically gives you. I do work in Thailand, and so I just trained the Royal Thai Army a few months ago. So I've been there quite a few times, and that's a big trip. It's a little too far. It takes 23 hours to get there. It's not all in the air, but it's like 18 hours to Hong Kong, and then you got to wait 4 hours for a second flight, which is hard because you've been up all day, and you can't fall asleep, and you got to catch the plane. If you fall asleep, you miss the plane. And you get on the second plane, it's another 3-4 hours from there.
Yep. So, I understand. Well, I go to Orlando, so I got clear. You know what clear is, right? Clear me?
Yes.
Well, I said, if I'm going to Orlando, I got to have clear. So it's...
some airports have it and some don't. It's not everywhere yet.
No, it's not. But Orlando's got it. It was one of the first ones. It's perfect for Orlando because I get through in less than 2 minutes.
Well, if I move out there, I probably would do that just to be convenient. But
Dallas has it too. I use it in Dallas when I go to Dallas. DFW.
I haven't seen it. I got the TSA pre.
They They have a clear entry right there by the American. I think it's Terminal 3.
But you got to
Um,
go to that entry, and there's so many. There's four different terminals for American.
that's true. That's true. So, but yeah, I Dallas. That's why I go when I fly American to Dallas. It's Terminal 3. I come into Terminal 3 and it's clear there. So but Dallas is a little bit different because it's being the hub of American. Man, everybody in the world, seems to have it. So unlike Orlando, where it's mostly families and older people. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're looking
so
forward to the change.
waiting for some folks to join. Is that what we're doing, or?
Well, let's see what time is it. It may just be us. I'm recording it. I know that the other two of the people that usually come are out of town, and they didn't know if they'd have access. So I'm recording it on Camtasia, and then I upload it to YouTube, and most of the people watch the video.
Can we get a copy of that so we can have that for our files?
Yeah, I can do that. Send me, when you send me an email, I'll send you a link to the YouTube video. You just froze. I'm not sure what happened. Okay. Colleen, you didn't freeze, but Dave did. I'm not sure what happened.
I know. And I'm in Canada. You'd think I would have froze.
Yeah, I mean, right, really. Where in Canada are you?
I'm in Toronto right now. How about you? Whereabouts are you?
I'm near Dallas. I like Toronto. I used to work with the Learning Annex, and I went there every other month.
Oh, the Learning Annex is awesome.
They're gone. They're not back, are they?
No, and sadly, very sadly,
Yeah, it was
they
very
they were awesome.
I was there every other month. I went to Toronto every other month for like 20 years.
Wow.
And I miss it. There were two cities I told my wife, my two favorite places were Toronto and San Diego. San Diego is the best weather. It's gorgeous.
Absolutely. If you know what, if I had a city to pick, I would pick San Diego to live in.
But it's like $40 million for a house.
Oh. But they have the very best, bar none, Long Island iced tea. I'll tell you a fast story while we wait for Dave.
I'm here.
Oh, are you? Oh, perfect.
Watching.
When I was in the very first time I went to San Diego, I was a television producer, and I was working with Dick Simon Racing and Reggie Fountain Boats. Anyway, so they took the boats out, and we had the helicopters and the whole kit and caboodle and all that. But the funny part about it was I was sitting with Dick Simon, and he said, well, we could go up to this little pub up here and we'll wait for them. And I said, okay, fine. So I said, well, what do you want to drink? And I said, I don't know. What are you having? And he said, a Long Island iced tea. I had never had one, ever.
It's strong. It's a strong drink.
Oh, my goodness. It's nothing but booze with a very tiny bit of Coke in it. Anyway, make a long story short, two of those, we came down that gangplank like a couple of drunken sailors. And it was so funny. So to this very day, San Diego and Long Island iced tea go together like bread and butter for me.
Well, I love Toronto. I like I used to bike along the lake, and I enjoyed that.
Oh, you love it now. We have a huge, I forget, it's almost like, it would be equivalent about 25 miles along the lakeshore that you can go biking now. You need to come to Toronto and visit us.
I enjoyed that. And then they have the little island off the lakeshore. There's like houses on it. That was fun. And of course, what I loved was, I always thought Toronto was like New York City, where I grew up, without the crime. I mean, I know Canadians think there's crime, but compared to New York City, it's crime free. And you could go to a show that would cost $300-400 in Manhattan for $70 in Canada, which was, and they're good. And they're good.
Your money's worth so much more up here.
Yes, and the people are friendly. It's a nice place.
That we are. We still have, that hasn't changed.
Oh, I'll give you a Canada joke, because the difference between Mexico and Canada. In Mexico, it's, hey, how you doing? And in Canada, it's, how you doing, eh?
True. We ate everything.
Hey, everything.
Ate everything.
I used to do the Deanie Petty show.
I knew Deanie for many, many, many years.
She's a nice lady.
I almost died. I think she's like 72 72 or 73 now. And in my mind, Deanie never ages. Like she never does. And when she announced like that she was having her birthday and she was like 73, it was like, oh my gosh, holy smokes. Because like I said, in my mind, she never gets old.
Well, I just hit 70 this year, so.
Oh, you look good. You look
Thank
very
you.
good.
Yeah, thank you. I do work out. I'm like pressing 400 pounds. I'm curling 100. I'm tricep pushing 200. I'm swimming a mile in an hour. So I'm still around.
That's good.
Well, it's like you use it or lose it. That's the way life is. I'm teaching myself guitar and video editing now, like real
Nice.
editing, not just the light stuff, like making a real movie, because it's challenging. And if you want to keep your brain fit, you have to go out of your comfort zone and pressure it. Otherwise, you turn to mush.
Agreed.
So what time is it? We usually have a social, like this is our social time from 5:30 to, because we don't meet physically. The group usually, they show up between now and 5:45. So I'm trying to wait till 1:45 because some people will show up
Oh,
then.
I know. We're just going to record it and go. Or okay, thanks.
Just so you know, because other groups, they have a lunch, they have a dinner, they have a breakfast. So this is how we say hello to everybody. But I'm surprised. Usually there's somebody here besides me. There's usually about 4 or 5 people. But it won't matter because I'm recording it, and we'll watch it afterwards. So, where were you in Florida? You in Gainesville?
No, I live in Charlotte, but I go to Gainesville and Orlando
Oh,
on business
oh,
every other
okay.
week. So
Where I have my granddaughter's at the college in Charlotte.
Queens or what?
Downtown. Is it downtown college?
That's Queens. That's where it goes. Yep.
Yeah, I think she's in her second year. Right now, she just took one of those boat things around the world, the colleges at sea. So she's on her way to Japan. She just hit Hawaii and she's on her way to Japan.
She's taking a boat around the world.
It's a college thing where they start in LA, they go to Hawaii, they go to Japan, China, Malaysia, they go around to Africa, and then they go up to Europe, and then they come back. It takes like 4 or 5 months till they do the whole thing.
Wow.
Oh, good luck with the pirates.
Yeah.
She's 19. I can't tell her what to do. I agree.
Nope.
I don't think I would take that chance. You're right about that. There's some real crazy. There's a lot of craziness going on in the world now, especially like going
Especially around Africa, all the pirates, the pirating.
Africa and going past Iran right now is no great thing either. I wouldn't want to be going through that strait.
Nope, not right now.
No.
Fun going on. Yep.
Yeah. Well, our stable genius has done a fantastic job of building rapport around the world.
I think he's done a fantastic job. I do agree. He's done a fantastic job.
I've never seen anything like it in my life, but okay, that's the way it works. Anyway, what do you think? What time is it? It's almost. I guess we could
6:40.
start. I have to do the introduction as a rotary thing. I'm not going to do an invocation. Oh, there you go. All right, I was right. Right. I said if we waited, that's Linda. Linda is our past president. I'm past president, and that means David's with her.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Are you Dave's? Who are these?
That's
Hello?
a speaker.
Is this a Zoom meeting?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Helene Report.
Can you hear me?
You cover North Texas.
That,
Howard, can you hear me?
yes.
Oh, I have to turn my volume.
Okay.
Now I think I can hear you.
Okay. Is David with you?
He's meeting with some people from Rotary International right now.
Okay.
So you're gonna take it over.
Yes, I'm recording also.
Okay, if you will be president, stand in.
That's I'm doing it. You asked me to help
Thank
today.
you.
I
Yes,
said I
yes,
would do
we
it,
need-
so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm here with the Club Runner people. If you have any questions concerning Club Runner.
Not right now. I can't think of any.
Okay. Okay, good. He's
Howard, I'm going to log back in to make sure that I've got, because I always see the young lady right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll be here.
Thank you.
I'll be here.
All right.
So, Colleen, what do you do? Do you work with Dave? Because you're like two.
Yes, I do. I manage Dave.
Oh, okay. How do you? What do you do?
Well, so basically, my background is PR, marketing, and event management. And so for his publicist is a very good friend of mine. So he was looking for someone to basically streamline his organization and manage his time as well as event schedule. So we've been working together now about 3.5 months, and
Okay.
I'm like a second wife.
Okay. Okay.
So I basically keep him on the straight and narrow and keep him out of trouble.
Okay. Well, everyone could use that. That's certainly a
Howard,
good
have you
thing.
heard our new theme?
I couldn't hear you.
Have you heard the new theme for next year?
No.
Rotary opens opportunities,
Oh, okay.
and it's 3 doors that are opening.
Okay. And
Is
who's
the
the new
logo.
president? What country is the new president from?
Germany, Holger Connect.
Okay. See, Linda's like a Rotary maven. Linda knows everyone international. She goes to, that's where she is. She goes to all the big conferences around the world. And she was the governor of our district some years back.
ago.
Years ago. And she was our past president. I'm a past president. And she does a lot with Rotary. She's almost full-time Rotary. I think that's mostly
Wow,
what
that's
she does.
congratulations.
Hey,
Which is-
Linda, do you know a lady by the name of Nikki Medeiros?
Where is she from?
New Jersey. She was a district governor last year in New Jersey, and now she's doing something different here.
No, I don't think I know her.
All right. I know there's only a few people in Rotary, so I know her.
Yeah, I know quite a few, but I don't know her. We go to different assemblies. Well, like I probably saw her last year if she's in past, because I've been coming out here to San Diego for about 12 years. And so I get to meet a lot of the governors elect, but I may see her, but not know the name.
Your screen's dead, Linda. I could hear you, but there it goes.
Oh, that's because I have it up to my ear.
Okay. I wasn't
There.
sure what happened. It went black.
Well, I was trying to hear.
Well, we're
I'm going
getting
to
your
try to
ear.
get over here
Okay,
behind
we're
the
reviewing.
banner.
We got to see her cochlear canal. That was what that was.
There you go. That's cool.
Just a minute. Here's the banner. I think that. Can you see the banner?
Yes. Oh, that's nice. 3 doors. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. And then it says Rotary opens opportunities.
Okay. So, are you at the training for governors? Is that what that is?
Well, it's the governor elects, but I don't go. We go into the general sessions is all, and then they have their breakouts. And
Okay.
I'm going to have to leave at 6:15 or a little after 6 your time because they start another deal. Oh,
Okay,
there's a
why
big-
don't we start early then so you can see some of the speaker. Do you want to do the invocation and then I'll do the pledge and then we'll get right
Go
to
ahead. I don't have all that with me, so if you would. Now, I was just watching a ship go by the Navy Yard, the USS is it Lexington? The new one, Lincoln, the new one that just came into port. They were delayed by a couple of months because of the situation in the Middle East.
Okay.
But this is a new ship that's just come into the Navy. We're in San Diego, right across from North Island. So,
Okay. Did you want to
anyway.
just do the invocation and I'll
Let's
do
just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and do the pledge.
Okay.
And
And
you
I'll do
have
the
a bell?
Interact thing next time when we have more time.
Okay, yes.
I
yeah, for
took
the next
notes
two-
at Interact for you.
Okay.
No, I
thank
mean
you.
Ryla.
Right.
I did go, just so you know, I did go to Ryla.
Fantastic.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to get a hold of Lawrence.
Okay,
And see if
so
we're gonna
we'll
have
just
somebody.
do a pledge and then I'll introduce Dave and we'll let Dave do his presentation and I'll record it and I'll put
Okay.
it on the internet.
Okay, thank you. That'll
Okay.
please David.
Okay, so welcome to the Rotary Eclub of North Texas. and it's January 21st. Speaker tonight's Dave Sanderson. I'm going to just do the pledge. We're going to go quickly, and then we'll have our speaker. So we'll just do the pledge, pretend there's a flag, and Colleen, you're Canadian, so you can watch. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A little sidebar. When you do a lot of the Texas Rotaries, they have the Texas flag, and for some reason they pledge to Texas, which I never completely grasped. I don't know what that's
about. The Texas flag.
I'm not pledging to Texas. It's Texas, Florida. What do I care?
I'm a native Texan.
Yeah.
So no, I don't pledge allegiance to a state, but that's fine. That's what they do.
We were a republic, though, the day before. And that's why we can raise the flag to the same height.
We were also Mexico once. I don't pledge allegiance to Mexico. So.
When I left California, I told them I had to leave or I'd lose my citizenship in Texas, and they believed me.
Well, there's something to be said for that. So, Dave, can you tell us a little about what you do, and if you want to do a PowerPoint, it's up to you, but you can. In the middle of the screen on the bottom, there's a share button, and if you want to use it, you're welcome to. I'm turning it over to Dave.
I haven't tested it yet, so we'll find out.
It should work. We've done a lot of these.
Yep, I have too, so hopefully it will work. We'll find out. So, well, thank you, Howard, and for having me today. I'm Dave Sanderson. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and over 30-some years of experience in sales. But what I'm really here to talk about tonight is my experience of surviving the plane crash known as the Miracle on the Hudson. We just passed week, the 5th anniversary. Yes, it's been 11 years. And tonight I'll be sharing with you not only my experience, but some of the things and learnings that I found through some of the leadership experience that I used that day and now talk about, and how people can find what I call their distinct advantage, what brings out of you, that distinct thing that brings out of you. So you'll find what I call your point in time that will change everything, what I call your pitch, what I will be talking about tonight. So we're going to test out the PowerPoint to make sure I have a little intro video, which will start, and then we'll take it from there. So Howard, let's see if we can get this thing working, okay?
Okay. I'm going to mute my mic when you're talking. So
yeah,
you don't get any
back. That would be great. That will save a little on the bandwidth. Let's see if I can.
And I don't know how to mute my phone. Well, wait a minute. Okay. Oh, I can't.
You see, just give me a thumbs up. You see a PowerPoint
slide. Phone, I can't hear y'all. He's just starting.
Okay.
He is starting about surviving.
You see a blank screen with a black screen right now.
Surviving the plane crash.
Somebody say yes.
Okay.
Hello?
No,
Hello?
no. There's just you.
You just see me. All right. Let's see.
Click on share in the bottom in the middle. It says share.
Yep, I just did. I just shared it.
Huh.
Let's try it.
There it goes. Yes.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm muting it again, but I'll come back if you need me.
All right. Thank you. If I need you, I will say something. So you see a blank screen now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right. Let's see if this is going to work. This is a little intro video. I'll tell you a little bit about that day.
Tonight, on the Hudson, a jetliner filled with passengers crashes in the frigid waters off Manhattan. Everyone survives. U.S. Airways Flight 1549 had just taken off from LaGuardia Airport in Queens for Charlotte, North Carolina, when it apparently hit a flock of birds, knocking out both of the plane's engines.
Cactus 1539, hit bird. Cactus 1529, turn right 280, can land runway right 1 feet of our. We can't do it. We're going to be done.
Even outpowered, though, the pilots managed to maneuver the Airbus A320 northward over the Bronx, make a sharp turn south, then follow the Hudson River alongside Manhattan Island, losing altitude along the way, and finally coming to rest on the river.
The plane then skimmed across the water 100 yards or more before coming.
Oh, you like that? Hold on, guys.
We could see your video.
You can see it good. Okay. Let me resume it.
The plane. I understand you were actually in the plane after it landed for 7 minutes. Was it filling up with water?
Yeah, once we got it out, I stood in the front to make sure everybody was out, and it was filling up pretty rapidly, and got up to about waist level. And then when everybody was out in the lifeboats, I then stepped out on the edge there, and it was about knee deep at that point. I just jumped in and started trying to swim to the first boat I could find. Chesley B. Sullenberger III, a former fighter pilot, used 40 years of experience to land the powerless plane on the ice waters of the Hudson River, a feat that's being called a miracle.
Take me inside the plane. Take me inside as this plane impacts on the water. What was going on inside?
No, it was stone quiet in there, which was amazing to me because I don't think anybody cross-referenced what was going on. I think that was a saving grace. And I just want to say, I admire your skills. I honor the way you managed your state. And now I do listen to the flights, and it's every flight. I know exactly where everything is. I know exactly where the exits are. I know where that life preserver is.
I'm really proud of a dear, dear friend of mine by the name of Dave Sanderson. Every one of us got to hear, every one of us has a capacity in the most difficult times to find our strength. And it's nice to see a miracle on the Hudson and know that part of that miracle was an extraordinary pilot, and another part of that was a dear friend who, even when he could barely function, made sure other people's lives were being saved and supported.
One commute, please. I appreciate it. Throughout our lives, many of us will be tested by a traumatic life experience. These midlife jolts can either propel us, or they can derail us, taking us back to square one. These jolts can create a lot of purpose, creating relationships, new careers, new worldviews, and the clarity of your mission on earth. That jolt came to me on January 15th, 2009, when I survived the plane crash known as the Miracle on the Hudson. For the next 40 minutes, I'm going to share with you my story. And through my story, you'll find here about defining moments that when you employ your personal leadership skills of resourcefulness and ability to solve problems, and you'll do that through a focused execution wrapped with gratitude, not only will your personal leadership skills come out, but you'll find what I call your distinct advantage. You'll find that point in time that will change everything in your life. Before I start, let me ask you a question. I hope if any of you have seen that movie Sully, I can't see anybody raising their hands, but if you have, I thought Clint Eastwood did an amazing job, and I thought Tom Hanks was fantastic. And I was honored and privileged just to be a very small part of that experience. The one thing that all the passengers knew then, and we all know now, is this. That movie was not about the plane crash. It was about the amazing journey of the captain, and the crew did an amazing job in how they responded that day. Now, let me tell you my story. Let me take you inside a miracle. January 15th, 2009 was a Thursday. That week started for me on Tuesday in Sarasota, Florida. And on Wednesday, we were in a manufacturing plant in Petersburg, Virginia. That afternoon, we went to Richmond and boarded a train and took it to New York, because the next day, I was going to be working in a distribution center in Brooklyn, New York, in my job as a sales manager. Now, I don't know if anybody here's ever been or worked inside of a distribution center, but they normally open up quite early in the morning. This one opened up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So our day started about 5, and we got done about 10. Now, I travel over 100,000 miles a year, what I do in my, so any chance to get home to my wife and 4 kids a little early, I usually try to take advantage of that. So I called our, I worked with her, and she put me on flight 1549. I gave up a first class seat at 5 o'clock for seat 15A to be on 1549. I was happy, and I was filled with gratitude because I was going to go home early, and I was going to surprise my family. Now, that day in New York it was 11 snowing, so it was cold. There's nothing unusual about New York if you've ever been to New York. And so I got to the airport a little early, and the planes were backed up. That's not unusual for New York. And I was one of the first set of passengers to board the plane that day because of my status with U.S. Airways. I was the chairman. So I went back to my seat. I went to see, that's 4 rows behind the left wing. And I did exactly what I did every single time I got on a plane then. And I hallucinated what you do when you get on a plane. I went back to my seat, I put my briefcase, put my wallet in the briefcase, pulled the magazine out, and I started to read. I did not listen to the flight crew. I did not know what those I did not read that little brochure they always tell you to read. But I guarantee you, every single time I get on a plane now, I do. Because now I know how important it is to be aware on the plane. If you ever flown out of New York, you'll notice when you fly out of New York, you go out, the extension goes out into the bay, and all flights start heading north before they start banking. As we took off, there's nothing extraordinary about the takeoff. But seconds or so after we took off, it's when I heard an explosion. And it was a loud explosion. I had been on a plane like that before, so it definitely got my attention. So I looked up and I looked out the window, and I saw fire coming out from beneath the left wing. So I knew something had happened, but I fly so often, I saw a plane lost an engine. No big deal. It really didn't startle me too much at that moment. That's where I think God's grace entered for the first moment on this flight. Because no one on the plane knew at that moment in time, when on the left side of the plane, where I was, I'll show up on the right side of the plane. And I truly believe they were cross-referenced or checked in. Hey, what did you see? Hey, what did you see? There could have been a lot of panic. People panic, people lose their heads. And when people start to lose their heads, they start making irrational decisions. This day, I bet if you talk to any passenger on that plane, they'll tell you the same thing. It was so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. The guy next to me elbowed me and said, hey, man, what's going on? I said, I think we're going back to the airport. I felt this banking. I just thought we were going back to the airport. But as we started banking, I started looking out the window, and I saw something that I had never seen before that close. I saw the skyline of Manhattan right out my window. It was that close. And as we're proceeding on a little bit further, also I looked out a little bit further, I saw this bridge coming up. And I'd never seen that bridge before as I was flying. So I knew something was going on. But once again, it really didn't startle me because I thought we were going back to the airport. And as we started approaching the bridge, so when I heard the only words I heard the entire time on this plane. So when the captain said his famous words, this is your impact. Now, I've never heard that one on a plane before. That one got my attention. So as I was looking out the window, and I don't know if anybody here, I don't know how it does, but I don't know if anybody here knows anything about George Washington Bridge. That bridge is 600 feet up. And we were roughly at 1,000 feet and descending at that point in time. So we cleared the bridge by roughly 400 feet. And as we were crossing over the bridge, I looked out my window, I looked down, and you can see people's faces looking up. That's how close we were to the bridge. And that's one thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, is that that thing was going down pretty quick. But as we crossed over the bridge, first thing I did is I prayed. I prayed, whoever that dude is up front, man, just get me down in one piece. I don't want to come back in all body parts. I want to come back in one body. The second thing I prayed for is the last person I spoke with, who was my client up in Brooklyn, to call my wife. And the third thing is I prayed to God to forgive my sins. I don't want anything between me and God at this point. We're going down. I want to go up, and it's not looking good for me. And the second thing I did is I reached down to my briefcase, got my wallet out, and shoved it down into my pants. Because if something did happen, which looked like it was going to happen, at least they could claim my body. At least my family would know who I was. And as we crossed over the bridge, it was about 60 seconds or so before we crashed into the river. And people ask me all the time, what was that last moment like? Really going on inside the plane. You could hear some people making phone calls to their family. You could hear some people texting on phones. You heard so many little things I think people thought at that moment were probably not coming back. But for me, something happened to me was amazing. I saw the movie of my life pass before my eyes. I saw with such clarity, 4K, high-def TV of my movie of my life. I saw things from playing Little League Baseball and high sports on my first date, and when I met my wife and as we had our children, I saw things with such clarity. And I got to contract with somebody who survived the earthquake in Haiti several months later. And when I talked to her, and she was locked down in a building during the movie of her life, and I think that's what happens when you think that you may not be coming back, that you understand, all of a sudden you understand what your life is all about. And as we started descending down, things got extremely, extremely quiet. And I started looking out the window a little bit, but I really just get me down. And last thing I was thinking is just get me down, and hopefully I'll go to a better place. But as we landed, it was a hard crash. In my seat and up in my seat extremely fast. It was like that hard of a G when we hit. But as we hit, you still have the plane hit, and you'll see in a moment it hit, and it started going to the right a little bit, so it's slowing down. But as I came back up, I looked up, and I actually looked out the window, I saw a light. So I knew I had a shot. I knew I wasn't out yet. Because if you saw that plane landed, water started coming in immediately. And depending on which side of the plane you were on, and I was on the left, water started coming in anywhere from ankle to knee to waist deep, just like that. It was that deep of water. It started rushing in. But my first thought was, how am I going to get out of here? So my game plan was get to the aisle, get up, get out. When I looked out, I saw something that sort of caught my eye. And people ask me all the time, how did those people, you've probably seen that picture of the people standing on the wings. How did those people get on those wings so quickly? So when I looked out, all of a sudden I saw people jumping on top of the seats, walking down the seats. That was an amazing learning for me. Because that's one of the things I learned during this, is when you think you might in life, you don't have one way or one option to get something done. If you're aware and you open your eyes and you're resourceful, many different places come in. I learned a great lesson about staying aware the entire time as things go on. But I didn't think about getting on top of a seat. My game plan was get to the aisle, get up, and get out. But when I got to the aisle, something happened. Only changed that day for me. It changed the entire direction of my life. My mom kicked into my head. Mom passed away in 1997. There was something she would tell me when I was a child that popped into my head, and it was, if you do the right thing, God will take care of it. And the right thing for me was you'd help other people first. See, I grew up in a small town outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I was always around a group of guys, and playing and scouting and athletics, always with a group of guys, and the guys I hung with always had each other's backs. So when I got to the aisle, I started making my way towards the back of the plane. I started climbing the seat back of the plane. And when I got to the back of the plane, things were moving pretty good. But I got behind everybody else. I started making my way out just like everybody else. Now, in the back of the plane, water was anywhere from about knee level to chest level deep water. It was extremely deep water. So and you got to remember, based on the impact, some of those bins that now had broken open and luggage has flown out. So as you were taking steps, all of a sudden you're starting hitting things. And the first light that I saw was on the right side of the plane. And so I said, I'm out of here. It's time to go out. So I looked out the right side of the plane, and I looked out, and I was going to get on the wing just like everybody. It was an amazing sight. There was no room on that wing for me. There was no room on the boat for me, but it was an amazing sight. People were already being rescued. And I don't know who said this, and I give them 100% of the credit when they said that the crew got everybody down that day, and the crew and passengers got everybody out that day. But the real heroes of the day were the first responders. And the first of the first responders was the New York waterways, the ferries. They were there about 2 minutes after this plane. And there's a lot of ways to describe a miracle. Having someone there to rescue you. Just a couple minutes after a plane crash in ice cold water, that's the start of a miracle. And as all of a sudden you'll see come up in this picture, you'll notice that I'm holding on to this lifeboat. And the reason why is this. I don't know if anybody here knows anything about the Hudson River. I've learned a lot about it over the last several years. It's got an extremely fast current. That little plane floated down the river about a half a mile in 24 minutes. So as that plane was floating down the river, that little lifeboat float was floating out into the river. And they, like I, and probably all of us who are watching, who reads the instructions? No one ever reads the instructions in the brochure. It's actually tethered to the plane. But they didn't know that. So they kept hold on. And you see me in this picture holding on to his little lifeboat, waist in 36-degree water for about 7 minutes. Then I sort of swung out and looked out. Something happened to catch my eye, and it was like she wasn't moving. Now, I've had a lot of training in the work that I've had, and you've probably been in business situations where someone just goes into that frozen state, that locked state where they can't do anything. And that's a dangerous situation, especially when you're in a situation like this. And the way you get somebody out of that state is you got to do something radical to break them out of it. So I started yelling at this lady. And all of a sudden, she's like looking at me. He's like, why are you yelling at me? Amazing where people are in times of a crisis, because there was a lady on this lifeboat who heard me yell at this lady, grabbed this lady by the wrist and helped her get on that lifeboat. And all of a sudden, you saw people walking down that wing. Then a couple minutes later, I felt the plane shift, and I don't know what happened, but I found out later there was a tugboat as a part of the rescue that was backing out for the next ferry to come in that hit the front of the plane. When it hit the front of the plane, it shook the plane. Now, that's not that big of a deal unless you're in the plane like I am. You're about waist level deep water there. And all of a sudden, when it hit the plane, it shook the plane. When it shook the plane, I felt water going up my backside. And the first thing I thought about was that movie Titanic. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but that boat tipped up. It sucked everything down in it. And my thought was, man, do not be sucked down in a plane. You're almost out here. Do not suck down in a plane. So I stop here. I always thank my mom and my dad, because they had made me lessons when I was a child. I may never have been able to get off this plane. And I started thinking about that moment for a long time, for the last several years. I've thought that moment for a long time because it reminded me of a moment when I was 12 years old when I was in Boy Scouts. And in Boy Scouts, they have this award or this recognition called the Order of Arrow. And it's a camping and orienteering award. It's basically when you're 12 years old, your dad drops you off and says, I'll see you in a couple of days. You're with a bunch of guys, and you know, it's like Survivor on steroids. I mean, you can do all these activities that you got to get done within a 2-day period. And they give you this big old log where you got to start whittling this thing down to the shape of an arrow so you can present it at the end of all the activities. It's a very intense. But one of the things we had to do that week was we had to get across a river to get to the next activity. And yes, you could have walked down the bank, and there was a bridge to go across. But we were 12 years old, so what do? We jumped in the water and swam across the river to get to the next activity quicker. And I started thinking, was that the moment when I was 12 years old that was going to give me the certainty to do what I had to do at that moment in time? Because when I felt that plane shift and I felt that water go up, I'm like, I am out of here. So I jumped in and started swimming to the closest boat that I could find and have me into that wing. That was the longest 10-yard swim I've ever had in my life. So not only is the water 36 degrees, but now there's jet fuel in the water. And that's why you see me wearing glasses today. Because we found out when I got back to home and I went to the optometrist, they found spots in my eye. And I had a little hazy. I couldn't understand why I couldn't see, because I got jet fuel in my eye of swimming that ferry. When I got to the ferry, I got my backside up closer, yelling, climb, climb. I went, can't. Mom again. Because the word my mom hated most in life was the word can't. So I got one arm up. All of a sudden, I felt somebody grab it. I got the other arm up. I felt somebody grab it. To this day, I do not know who these two gentlemen are. But they pulled me on one of those ferries, threw me over the side. Now I'm slowing guys in the ferry. I didn't even know what's going on now. Now they're yelling, get up, get up, get up. And I got to the side of the ferry. I'm like, made it. I made it. But I didn't, because that was my moment. See, one of the groups I love speaking for the most are first responders, especially fire chiefs and fire responders, because the fire folks get it. Because the pictures you see of these firefighters are they running into the fire, right? They got it going on. And the next thing you see of a firefighter when they're coming out with all their equipment on is they're sitting on the curb and they have nothing left. They left it all in there. That's what happened to me. I left all the adrenaline to get to that point, and I had nothing left. And I was so cold. It's hard to explain how cold 36-degree water is for an extended amount of time, plus 11 degrees in air. It's so cold you can barely think. You can barely breathe. But it's amazing where people are in times of a crisis. Because there was a guy on this ferry. He had his laptop over his back. Most importantly, he was dry. He came running up to me and put this iPhone in my face and said, call your wife. And I couldn't dial the phone, but I could get the number out. And all I could get out at that point was, this is your father. I've been in a plane. Now, my wife's not home waiting for me to give her blow my day. She actually has a real life. She's taking our son to practice while all this was going on. So my daughter, who then was a junior in high school, heard that voice message, turned on the TV, saw what was going on, and she's the one that told my family I'd been in a plane crash, but that's all they knew. I'd been in a plane crash. Now, I think most of it who's on here, some of the people may not have, and Howard, I know you have, been in New York. This picture is great because it tells you exactly where all this stuff went down. So if you look at this closely, you'll see in the middle of the picture is the Empire State Building. Left of that, those big buildings is Manhattan. So that over there is New York. The other side of the river is New Jersey. And 6 years ago, I had the honor and privilege of speaking in New Orleans with one of the people who wrote the plan for maritime rescues in the Hudson. See, I found out from him, this plan was written 6 years earlier. They just got a chance to do it. And he and I did this conference, a 2-hour talk, a planned execution talk. It was a very, very cool talk. And I learned a lot of things. What I learned was pretty basic. Whatever closest point to shore you were is where you're going to go. So if you look over the other side of the river is New York, the other side is Jersey. We get to that point, I'm going to Jersey. So when they get to that point over on the side, there were 3 people waiting for me. There were 2 EMTs and a guy from the American Red Cross with a blanket. Now a national spokesperson for the Red Cross. Because little known fact about that day is this, which you will not get in the media, this is bonus information. There were a lot of groups that touched a lot of people, but there were 2 groups that touched every one of us. The ferries, the waterways, and the Red Cross with the New York and New Jersey side. I couldn't walk. So they picked me up and carried me to a triage center. Now, if you've never been to a triage center, it's a room with nothing in it. There's nothing special about a triage center. They put me next down to the wall, and all of a sudden they stripped all my clothes down to my skiffies, and Heather, my EMT, says, I'll be right back. So I'm on the floor of my underwear. I didn't know what's going on now. I look over to my left, and there was a guy sort of like I was. I look over to my right, and there was this girl, and she didn't have any underwear on. It's amazing when you're 4 naked with 2 people. Everybody's sort of looking, but ain't nobody talking. It's a very weird feeling. I was just in the water. Now I'm naked with 2 people on the floor. What's going on now? I look up and see this gentleman walking towards me. He had a card in his hand. He said, sir, I need your name. I need your date of birth. He writes on this card. It's on my right ankle, and he walks away. I don't know when y'all grew up. I grew up in the 70s. There's a TV show called Ash. When they take your toe, they're carding you out. You didn't make it. Game over. You're going to the big casino in the sky. That's exactly what I thought. Because I was on the floor. I was naked. I was ice cold. I could barely breathe. And a tag on my foot. I must be dead. I was thinking, it's the movie Ghost, right? The movie Ghost. It's true. The movie Ghost is true. I'm watching myself die. I've already died. Watching this thing play out. It's amazing how your mind works on you when you're going through something like this. Well, Heather comes back up and says, I got to take your blood pressure. I said, shh, good, blood pressure. We like blood pressure. Unfortunately, my blood pressure was 190 over 120. She goes, you got to go stat. You could have a heart attack or stroke. You got to go right now. And if you ever heard stat, that means you got to go. And the first thing I thought was, I survived a plane crash. I got out of the water. And now I am going to die of a heart attack or stroke. Man, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. So now they picked me up and put me on a gurney and started wheeling me out. I remember, this is New York. This is plane crash. This is rush hour. Everything's coming in. There's people every place. I've never seen anything like this. And they're taking me down to this ambulance. But all of a sudden, there's this guy from NBC with a camera on his shoulder who had a story. Last passenger out. He's got a story. So he's following us. They're putting me in the ambulance. He's jumping in. They're pushing him out. He's jumping in. They're pushing him out. There's chaos in the ambulance. I don't even know what's going on there. They finally get the door shut. They take me to this place called Palisades Medical Center, which is now Hackensack Palisades. And once again, people in New Jersey get a bad rap. Because when they open up the door, all of a sudden there's like 20 or 30 people waiting just for me. And all of a sudden these 10 women come running up with blankets. I didn't know what happened until later. I found out later what happened was with all the commotion over at the triage center, the gurney got stuck in the ambulance. They couldn't get it out. So these 10 women picked me up in blankets, carried me to this bed where you're seeing, put me down, and there was a doctor there. And now it is go time. So now the doctor's yelling out orders. He yells out blood pressure. They take it again, 190 over 120. Dude, that wasn't good because Heather Sack had a heart attack or stroke. Dude, that's not good. He yelled out oxygen. They yelled out 75. I didn't know what that meant. I found out later, that's not good. And then they yell out temperature, and they take it oral 96. And then he yells out anally, and all of a sudden I got that one. I know exactly what that meant with my mom, and I have no control over the situation. It's going to happen whether I like it. And Nurse Bautista, who's on my right arm, she stayed with me the entire night. She's my angel. She stayed with me the entire night. All of a sudden, screams at the doctor, said, I can't get him off. I can't get him off. Because I found out when my body was so cold and so wet, my underwear froze to my hip. Froze my hips from all that. So what do nurses always have? They have scissors like this long. She goes clip, clip, rip. And all I got left in this entire world was because my temperature was 94. And that's how I got diagnosed with hypothermia. And it took us 5 hours to get my body up. That was an amazing 5 hours. Because not only did I get to meet the former governor of New Jersey, the head of Port Authority, New York State Police, New Jersey State Police, Homeland Security, FBI. He wanted to talk to me. The gentleman was on my left. He was the first passenger out. And the reason they wanted to talk to us is this. Once again, this is a low-known fact which you will not get in the media. I have 150 passengers, not passengers. 21 people went to the hospital. 18 went over to the New York City hospitals like Beth Israel and Columbia City hospitals. 3 of us went to Palisades over in Jersey. Out of those 21 people, 2 people stayed the night, Barry and I. 148 people walked home hours after a plane crash in ice cold water. You ever go back and watch any of that, or have you seen the movie? You remember that the governor came out about that night and said, this is truly a miracle on the Hudson. It took him until 7 o'clock to find out where everybody started going home. That's why it took him so long to make this. But that's how it's got its name. And the governor said, this is truly a miracle on the Hudson. So we're over in the hospital in Palisades. We get to talk to all these people. So all night long, I kept telling the doctor, I have no clothes. I have no clothes. And the doctor kept telling me, why you need clothes? You're in a hospital. I did not know you did not need clothes in a hospital. But what I didn't realize is this. Not only did all the authorities, like I mentioned, knew where we were at to come talk to us, but also all the media knew where we were at. And we were going to do Good Morning America, the early show Fox and Friends, and all I had to wear was my watch. So somebody from the Red Cross Northern New Jersey chapter went out and got some really ugly sweats for me to wear that next day, but that also told me something. Somebody cared. Somebody cared. And that really gave me something to think about. When you have nothing, you realize when you have nothing in your life, you have no food, you have no friends, you have no money, you have no clothes, you have nothing. When someone gets you a stitch of clothing, and that becomes really important. And all night long, like I mentioned, these authorities kept asking this question. One of the questions I got was, do you think this was a terrorist attack? Because if you have planes going towards bridges towards Manhattan, somebody has to answer questions. And so we were getting these questions, and all of a sudden I had no clothes. Now I got some clothes, and it was just a lot of chaos. So about midnight that night, maybe a little after 12 or 1 o'clock, I finally, somebody from U.S. Airways shows up. It's important. And she got there. I finally got to call my wife. But I hadn't had a phone to call my wife. Finally talked to my wife and found out what was going on home in Charlotte. You know, trying to keep people away and trying to make plans for me to get home. And so all night long we were doing all this. I didn't sleep at all that night because we had people coming and going. So the next morning when Barry and I went down to do these TV shows, she made plans to get me back to Charlotte. So we get done with these shows about 8:30 or so. And I come back. I'm like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. He said, listen, I don't want any more stress on you. I'm going to put you on the 12 o'clock flight home back. I said, no, I want to go home now. She goes, no, you don't understand. I can't get you there. I said, no, you don't understand. My wife and kids are at the airport. They're probably freaking out. I want to go home now. She understand. She said, you are in Weehawken, New Jersey. You're going out of LaGuardia. It's almost 9 o'clock. That flight leaves at 10. I can't get you there. I told you the night before, everybody wanted to be my friends. And they all said, call me if you need anything. I'm going to cash in. I'm going to tell you right now who the most important person in New York is, the director of Port Authority. I gave her that call. I said, call this guy. He'd help me. She looked at me and said, you want me to call the director of Port Authority? I said, call him. He said he'd help me. She told me later, I thought you were freaking out, melting down. I looked all big-eyed on me. Went out and called the director of Port Authority. 6 minutes later, I had a police escort. Right, take me from Weehawken, New Jersey to LaGuardia in 16 minutes in a pimped out Escalade, me and my hoodie. I'll tell you, that's a miracle. Listen, if you've had the chance to take a police escort through Manhattan, take it. There's nothing like it. Well, last year when I did the 10th anniversary, I had to go back from New Jersey to LaGuardia, 2 hours to get across that bridge. Nothing like it. So we pull in LaGuardia, and they've already been prepping me the whole way because now you're at the airport, and there's media every place. So I did one quick interview, but I just want to go home. So I go up. I said, I have nothing to do. Let's go. Let's go. But we all forgot one critical detail. Me too. I didn't have an ID. How am I going to get through TSA without an ID? Well, it worked once. So I gave the guy TSA, the guy from Homeland Security's car. I said, here, call this guy. He said he'd help me. So I said, sir, why don't we call the director of Homeland Security? I said, call him. He said he'd help me. And he did. And I got through LaGuardia TSA without an ID. TSA will tell you that's a miracle. Right now, go to your local airport. Go to Dallas or go to San Diego. ID. See what happens. Ain't nobody right now, especially right now. So now they give me something I have never had in my life. They give me this thing called an entourage. All of a sudden, I had like 20 people want to walk me to a plane. I'm walking down to the plane like 20 people. Very, very cool. There's a little commotion out front, but they walk me right on the plane, and they sit me down, and all of a sudden, Doreen, the lady from U.S. Airways, is talking to the flight attendant, and I'm sitting there, sort of standing there, and she goes, all of a sudden, the first officer walked in. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He said, listen, we deboarded the plane. I said, why? He goes, we want to talk to you. We never talked to anybody who survived a plane crash. So as they're holding the plane up, we're having a one-on-one interview in first class with the captain and first officer. And they're firing questions at me. But what they weren't expecting is this. I had questions for them. Like, are you going to get me over this bridge? Are you going to get me home? And the captain looked at me and said, sir, I will get you home safely. What I'll do for you is this. When we hit 3,000 feet, and that was the first time I had heard that plane only got 3,000 feet, I'll ring the bell, and you and I will know this happened yesterday. So you put me back in coach. I did not get first class. Got free potato chips, free Cokes. Other thing. Beth, the flight attendant, took great care of me. She's my angel. She's a great flight of me. I put the hoodie up like the Unabomber, and I locked it down and says, get me out of here. We take off, and all of a sudden, I hear ding, ding, ding. I look out the window. I'm like, whoa, 3,000 feet isn't that high up. The moment that all this started coming back to me, all of a sudden things I started remembering what happened. That's when I realized what the magnitude of what happened that day and what the entire crew and passengers did, along with the first responders. It was an amazing experience to find out exactly where this thing happened. We're on our way back to Charlotte. I haven't talked to anybody but Beth, the flight attendant. Somebody 2 seats over from me opens up page 4 of Newsday. And what is on page 4 of Newsday? The picture right there. That's on page 4 of Newsday. He looks at me and said, hey, were you that guy on that plane? I'm like, what? So he turns and shows me this picture. I'm like, whoa, what picture's in the paper? He goes, on the plane, right? I mean, looks up, look at the freak show with the hoodie in the back. Like, who's the guy? Who's the guy? Now we're on final descent. Now, the other day on the final descent, we really didn't work real well for me. And all of a sudden, the flight attendants would get down, and all of a sudden we had little things going on. And Beth runs up and says, are you okay? So just get me off. That's just get me off this plane last. And all of a sudden we land, and Beth runs up. Nobody gets by Beth. She's a stud. No one gets by Beth. She gets right in front of me, protects me as my angel, takes me off the plane last. And yes, the U.S. Airways was there, my family was there, but also the chief executive officer of the Red Cross was there with my family. And that was probably the most important thing that happened that entire day period, because somebody was taking care of my. Now we're back in Charlotte, where the plane was supposed to land. All of a sudden, they're escorting me up with a little entourage. They put us in the U.S. Airways Club, sort of briefing me on what's really going on. So when we get ready to go walk out, I look down. There's people, wall-to-wall people, media every place. My son, who then was in second grade, wasn't handling really well. So they took my wife and my daughter and him the backside. So 2 of my daughters and I went down the escalator, and I did a couple of. When we got out, I realized I was like, so much gratitude. I made it. I made it with all the faith and everything would work. I learned so many things, but God is good. I have so much gratitude that I made it. That's where my miracle turns into my mission. I want to end up and share with you, how does a miracle turn into somebody's mission, and how is that miracle together? So after the plane crash, in my church. Now that Sunday, everybody wanted to talk, but there was one guy who really wanted to talk to me. He was in charge of men's breakfast. He came up to me and said, Dave, will you speak at men's breakfast next Sunday? I said, no problem, man. 50 old guys eating pancakes? I got it. No big deal. I didn't know they advertised all over Charlotte. 500-600 people show up and they run out pancakes. Now I have hungry, angry Methodists. It might be all right for the Baptists or Presbyterians or Catholics. You can run out of food. But if you're a Methodist and you run out of food, you have a problem. So now I got hungry, angry Methodists on my hands. So I go behind this little stage. Our gym said like a gym floor and a stage, and we have a curtain. So I went behind the curtain on the stage and said, God, give me something to say, man. Give it now. Deliver. Give me something to say. And he gave me something to say. And I got done speaking. 2 men wanted to talk to me. One was from Wellsville. One was from Bank of America. They had friends on the plane with me. That's no big deal. That's no big deal. All of a sudden, I look up in the back of the room, and I see this elderly lady looking at me, just locking eyes with me. And she catches my eye. And all of a sudden, she starts making her way up the left side, coming up there. She comes up and interrupts this conversation I'm having and grabs my arm really tight. I like jump back like, whoa, what's she doing? But she looked me in the eye and said, so don't change that day for me. Probably change the entire direction of my life. That moment was my point in time to change everything. She looked me in the eye and said, I was questioning if there really is a God. And I don't believe in miracles. But you are physical evidence that there is a God. He does miracles. Thank you. Thank you. She let my arm go, looked me in the eye one more time, walked away. I look at these two gentlemen. I have never in my life seen two gentlemen cry like this in public, ever. And my minister was behind me. I sort of looked at him like, what's going on? But all of a sudden it came to me a couple seconds later. What happened to me on January 15, 2009, it now impacted somebody. Before she goes to her great beyond, wherever that may be, now believes there is a God who does miracles because I am physical evidence. So Howard, when you invited me here several months ago to be with you tonight, there's no doubt that I was going to be with you and your team tonight. I don't know what impact. If you go back 11 years, January 15, 2009, there wasn't a lot of positive things happening in this country. All of a sudden, you have a crew. That's just something that's never been done in the history of aviation. One team, one goal, one miracle. And they gave people hope. There's a passage in the Bible that says suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, character produces hope. And hope does not disappoint us. That's what happened. That's why I get to do everything. And that's why I love talking to Rotaries, because Rotaries go out and impact people's lives every single day all over the world. They give people hope. And that's why I have so passionate about what Rotarians really do. And that's why I wanted to be here with you tonight, Howard and your team, because I really respect what you do. One thing you learn as the older you get, you go through things in life, the success does leave clues. And I'm just going to end up right now and just sort of share with you some of the 4 or 5 different learnings I learned from that experience. And you go back talking about personal leadership, that you go back and hopefully learn some next step challenge or experience, some experience and help. Hopefully you'll be able to take some of these things away. First is this. One thing I learned is process saves. Now, it may not be your physical life like it was mine. It might be your financial life, your emotional life, your spiritual life, your relationship life. But if you don't have a process, if you don't have a game plan in life, things can happen. That's why having a process to do anything is so important. I really talk about this subject a lot, especially with younger people. They just go in willy-nilly a lot of times. I tell people, if you go willy-nilly in a lot of these, you can lose a relationship. You can go broke. There's a lot of things that can happen. So you better have a process. You better have a game plan in life to get you to the next step. Process saves lives. The second thing is casualness leads to casualties. Once again, it may not be physically, but it could be emotionally. If you're emotional relationship you're having with a spouse, that could go a different direction. Or financially, you're casual with your money. You could have catastrophic situation. And this really came to life for me last year. I had the honor and privilege last year of noting in NASA on their safety. It was a huge deal because I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I love space. It was like I want to be an astronaut when I grew up, right? And so I get the keynote at NASA. And one of the things I got to do while I was at NASA, Cape Canaveral and Cape Kennedy, is I got to meet with a rocket scientist. Now, I don't know if anybody here's ever met with a rocket scientist. It's extremely cool. I had 30 minutes with a rocket science. And he wouldn't have heard about my experience because he was on the flight crew, the patrol for the Space Challenger, or the Space Shuttle Columbia. He took me behind the closed doors. I got to see the remains of Columbia as we talked. We were talking back and forth, and he said something to me that really resonated. He said, if it wasn't for Apollo 1, which I think that we remember what Apollo 1 was, the one with the 3 astronauts burned up in the first experiment of Apollo. He said we would never got to the moon. He said we got so casual at that point. Things were going so well. People loved us. You know, through Gemini and through Mercury, everybody loved it. We got casual. And all of a sudden, that happened really serious and focused. And that's what got us to the moon. He said, same thing happened on the space shuttles. We got casual on Columbia. We had to focus. We never let that again happen. Everybody taught me that casualness really does lead to casualties. Next is people value people. And I really believe that's what happened that day. If you watch the movie, the captain of the ferry said in the movie that was actually the motto of the day is no one dies today. So I think people who of value people's lives. And whether you believe that there is someone by the name of Jesus who was on this earth, but one of the things that Jesus valued more than anything else is he didn't go out and party with the cool folks. He partied with the sinners because he valued people's lives. People value people. And that's one thing you learn through that experience of leadership. You have a team, value those people. And those people value will come to the top of the equation. Next is our teamwork. How's 155 people who do not know each other or care about each other come together and do something that's never been done in the history? Two things. Number one, it comes to leadership. I had the opportunity years ago to escort a gentleman named Joe Norman Schwarzkopf, a gentleman who led the first Iraq War. And he told me something. We're given the opportunity to lead, step up and lead. We're given that opportunity. Leaders stepped up the entire day. And second, you learn through leadership that you check your ego at the door. See, when you're going down in a plane crash, one of the things you realize is this: I don't care if you're the CEO of America, you're the guy who's putting up light bulbs in the middle of the night. Everybody's the same. So you better be able to check your ego at the door and you realize some other people may have better sets of duty to get something accomplished. The power of teamwork, pulling together that day to make it turn into a miracle. And last but not least, is grace is fueled by gratitude. See, gratitude is giving thanks to something bigger than ourselves. And I truly believe if you give thanks to something bigger than yourself, the more grace will come to you. That's happened in my life. It's happened in so many of the lives of many of the leaders I've had the opportunity to be around and work with and work under. Is that the more gratitude you give, the more grace comes on you, the more grace you have, the better opportunity you have. Not only survive, but you'll be able to impact other people's lives. And that, my friends, when you'll find what I call your distinctive advantage. Find what you're here for, on this earth for. And that will be the point in time that will change everything in your life. Last little story. There's a group of people who lived in Egypt for 1,000 years. They didn't have enough. They lived in a land of not enough. But all of a sudden, a leader stepped up, came into that land, brought them out of that land to a land of just enough. And for 40 years, they wandered in a land of just enough until a group of leaders came and started believing in themselves and believing in people. From a land of just enough to a land of more than enough. My goal for you is to learn these personal leadership skills, find that distinct advantage, take people and impact people's lives so you can take them from a land of just enough to a land of more than enough. And that, my friend, is when you'll find the point in time that will change everything in your life. I thank you, Howard, for having me here tonight. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this, especially during this week of the anniversary of the Miracle on the Hudson. And I would love to stay in touch. If you right here, please interact with me because I share this new content of leadership every day on LinkedIn. That way I get my message out because my goal is to impact 1 million people in the next 10 years. And this is one of the ways I can do it. I need your help to do it. So if you go out, come link up with me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
And I gave you my email too. In the chat
Thank you,
box.
Dave. This is Linda. I thought I was going to leave early, but I couldn't.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so
It
much.
was a great
And here's
presentation.
David.
It was very inspiring.
Well, I don't have anything even close to that. I've been in an airliner on the ground. The cabin was filling with smoke, and we went down the escape slide, no injuries. So I'd say I've had about 1% of what you had. But, and I spent 38 years designing aircraft.
Wow.
So I guess I feel they did what they were trained to do, and they did it well. And that's the best you can ask for.
Yeah.
Everybody stepped up and executed what they had to execute. That's what I talk about. Focused execution wrapped with gratitude.
Remember to send me your email so I can send
Okay.
you my programs.
Okay, thank you very much. We do need to get to our meeting.
Let's just
And
do the
have a
four-way
full-
test and close. I'll just do it.
Okay, of the things we think
Saying
so do.
First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second,
Second,
is it fair to all concerned? Third,
Third,
will it build
will it build goodwill and better
friendships?
friendship?
And fourth,
And
will it
fourth, be beneficial to all
concerned.
concerned.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dave.
Thank
Remember to
you.
get back to me, and I'll send you my program. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Howard?
Yes, I'm closing.
I couldn't see because of the way I had my screen set up. Was that okay?
It was fine. It was very inspiring.
See the slides, right?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was one of the best presentations I've seen in 3 years. So, right? I would say that's
Thank
fair.
you.
That's a fair statement.
Well, thank you. It's I haven't done these like this too often, so I was.
No, great.
looking
No,
back and forth,
you're
but I'm glad I
fine.
came through well.
I'm a professional speaker. You did a very good job.
Well, thank you. And, we'd love to get a copy of that, so if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I'd love
make
to
sure you
promote
send me an email, Mr. Reader, MRREADER, Mr. Reader, MSN, and I'll send it to you. And give me the lady. I think Colleen was her name.
that. Colleen's still right here. She will make sure you get that email.
And Huz,
make sure
and send me Huz too, and I'll give it to her as well.
Howard, would you end the meeting so I can get signed out?
Okay, this is the official end of the meeting. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.